Hey, this is Paul Horn. I wanted to talk about PPP. You down with PPP, or should you go with the ERC? Or should you go with the ERC? What do I mean by that? So what I want to do is show you that, hey, if you have employee, is it an automatic to go with the PPP, Paycheck Protection Program? Is it automatic? Maybe not, right? Maybe you should go with the employee retention credit, or maybe you're just feeling down and out that your PPP is not being processed fast enough. No worries. What I want to do is this. I'm going to show you a chart where I compare the two, where you can see that. Let's look at this Excel spreadsheet that I've created, and let's compare whether the Paycheck Protection Program is better for you, or whether the employee retention program is better for you. So let's start with the basic. This is the summary. This is the summary of both programs. A summary on the Paycheck Protection Program, a summary on the Employee Retention Credit Program. So eligibility. So for the PPP, here, let's put in parentheses so we know what we're talking about here, PPP. So that's when I say PPP, that's what I mean. So eligibility, all businesses with less than 500 for eligibility for PPP. But for employee with retention credit, any size, 600 employees, 700 employees, you can do employee retention credit, okay? The time frame. Small businesses and sole proprietorship can apply for the PPP starting April 3rd up to June 30th. But for the employee retention program, it's any wages that you incur between March 13, 2020 to December 31st, 2020. How much could I receive? Under the PPP, you would receive, for PPP, you would receive up to $10,000, you can go up to $10 million. You can go up to $10 million, okay? But for the employee retention program, it's gonna be $5,000 per employee, up to $10,000 per employee, okay? And we'll get into analyzing which is better dollar-wise. How do I apply for the PPP? You apply your bank. Go to a bank that you have a business account with, go to your bank, or go to any bank, or go to any SBA lender, okay? For the employee retention credit, you would do it via Form 7200, okay? What are my repayment responsibilities? Do I have to pay it back? For the PPP, for the Paycheck Protection Program, the PPP, if you use it purely for payroll, 75% payroll, 25%, let's say, for rent, utility, all forgiven, zero payback. So if you use 100% for payroll, that's fine too, okay? So there's no payback if you stay in your lane and do payroll, utilities, and rent for the PPP. For the employee retention credit, you do not have to repay it back either, okay? Can I take both? Can I take the PPP and can I take the employee retention credit? No double dipping. You can only take one. You're going to take one. So which leads to the logical question, which one should I take? Isn't the PPP a no-brainer because it's gotten so much attention? Hold on. Let's take a look at this. Which one should I take? So first of all, if you're a big company with more than 500 employees, no-brainer, you're not qualified for the PPP with more than 500 employees. If you are a small business with less than 500 employees, or if you're a sole proprietorship with no employee, then you can look at the PPP. Now, the next step is how much? So keep in mind that basically, so let's start with something basic. Let's say you have one employee, and that one employee's salary is 12 grand. You take 12 grand, divided by 12 months, it's 1,000, multiply that by 2.5, right? 2.5, so 2,500 would be the PPP credit. but you would be short. You would jip yourself. You're better off. You're better off with going with the. You're better off with going with the employee retention credit for that same scenario. Basic example, for that $12,000 employee, you would get $5,000, right? It's 5,000 for that employee. So the magical number seems to be at 24,000. Any employee that makes less than 24,000, you want to go with the employee retention credit. Here's what I mean. So for example, so let's say employee annual salary is 12,000, divided by 12 is 2,000 a piece, and you're going to multiply 2,000 by 2.5, so $5,000, $5,000 if you did the PPP, right? So now, let's say that employee salaries is 48,000. You take that, you take that and you divide it by 12 is $4,000. $4,000 multiplied by 2.5 is 10,000. So if an employee was making, for example, 48,000 a year, you're better off with going with the PPP. But if anything less than 24,000, you're better off backup. So for example, if an employee makes 48,000, you divide it by 12 is 4,000 multiplied by 2.5. So if an employee makes 48,000, you're better off going to PPP because you would get 10,000, right? If an employee were to make 24,000 or less, you might want to look at the employee retention credit. So 24,000 seems to be the magical algebraic number, okay? So part-time employee, low-wage employee, anybody less than 24,000, you want to analyze that, hey, the employee retention credit might be better for you as a company. Great, I hope this helped. Thank you for watching.